YouTube's been waging a fierce battle with ad blockers for years and it's only getting worse. Why is this a problem? Well, let's get into it. A bit of background for you first. YouTube, which relies heavily upon ad revenue to support its creators and platform, has been working to develop ways to block ad blockers for a long time, and over the past couple of months has ramped up the pressure on ad blockers with on-screen warnings, soft threats, and even browser slowdowns for anyone using an ad blocking service in third-party platforms. On the other hand, ad blocker developers have been constantly finding new ways to circumvent YouTube's blocks. Kudos to these developers though, as most of these free add-ons help many people enjoy content here on this platform. Ad blockers are valuable in an age when ads are starting to get a little bit out of control, and while we don't want to critique specific tools, it's important to discuss the arguments in favour of ad blockers and the arguments against these tools so you know what you're getting yourself into. So of course there are a few reasons why you would use an ad blocker, and most of these boil down to the fact you get an improved user experience, because ad blockers can significantly improve your experience by removing intrusive and disruptive ads that often slow down page loading times and hinder seamless navigation. There is an element of enhanced privacy protection as they can safeguard your browsing privacy. Ad blockers prevent the tracking of your browsing habits and the collection of your data while viewing and consuming content online. Cookie blockers also stop sites from saving data about your browsing history to try and improve your browsing experience, and often these are just used to track you and upsell you when you do return to these sites. There are also potential cost savings in a couple of ways. You get premium-like experiences and features with no ads attached. That means that your favorite content will not be bombarded with ads, and it means you see less ads that promote paid products and services, which is great if you're susceptible to buying random things if there's a shiny product shoved right there in your face alongside the video player. Of course, there are key arguments against ad blockers pertaining to YouTube in particular. I'm not talking about other sites. The biggest argument against ad blockers is the potential harm that these can cause to content creators. Ad blockers can negatively impact the livelihoods of content creators who do rely on ad revenue to support their work and sustain their creative endeavors. There are other ways to monetize a channel or content on this site, but these are often secondary and are never really guaranteed for lots of creators out there. Google or YouTube still holds all the cards here, as the company does decide the creator ad revenue share, so this is often the strongest defense against ad blockers you'll probably hear. But this is a twofold problem, as it can cause the proliferation of low quality content on YouTube. It's hard to truly confirm this, but ad blockers could inadvertently contribute to the rise of low quality content as creators struggle to generate sufficient income and attempted to produce content solely for views rather than focusing on quality. It's not a solid metric, but it is a notable critique we thought we'd mention. And one of the arguments pushed directly by Google is the security risks of ad blockers themselves, because these add-ons can add risks to your account if they're not from reputable sources, and in very rare cases can contain vulnerabilities that can be exploited to inject malware into websites or even directly into your browser. That said, this is rare and it's something we don't often see or hear about online. There is no real getting around the fact though that ad blockers or no ad blockers, free online video content has faced huge viability problems for years now. Video hosting is not a free endeavor, and YouTube is the biggest online video hosting platform on the internet by a substantial margin. A really negative outlook would be that YouTube's efforts to block ad blockers could actually lead to a scenario where once online free video becomes increasingly restricted or potentially flat out disappears altogether, unless you're willing to suffer through increasing ad volume. Google has the biggest platform and YouTube is the biggest streaming site on the internet, dwarfing all of the other players by quite a large margin. Most of these competitors are actually built for specific types of entertainment, think Nebula or CuriosityStream, plus they end up requiring a subscription to access this external content from YouTube. Any startup YouTube alternatives often can't offer as much free online content, such is the cost of hosting it, even if it is ad supported, and many of these platforms simply wither and die because of that. This means that YouTube is a de facto service in which most types of online video content are uploaded, and we as consumers just have fewer free alternatives, such is the domination of Google's video sharing platform. All of the viewers are also on YouTube here too, so creators are less likely to upload elsewhere, save for that specific or specialist content. And this is the biggest problem that we're facing, as Google is of course vehemently against adblock, as it is a business model that is ad focused. So with that lion's share of viewers and Google evidently wanting to show us all more ads, adblock Adblocker developers really do need to find workarounds and solutions to get around YouTube's most recent blocks, warnings, and of course those soft threats. Luckily though, for the estimated 31% of US adults that say they use adblockers, which does seem quite low, that is already proven fruitful, and many adblockers work just fine as is, thanks to updates to those. Annoyingly though, Google has started limiting certain ad blockers on third-party browsers which are based upon Chromium, like Firefox and Microsoft Edge, with some working not quite as intended or even not at all. In some cases, if you do use ad blockers on these services and access YouTube, it will pause the video playback or delay videos from playing when an ad blocker is detected. But you could argue that that's preferable to actually watching a full-length ad, some of which can last several minutes at this stage. This quite clearly indicates that the current landscape of ads online and the method of delivery is pretty much unsustainable in a cat and mouse form. How long can this game continue before people just switch off and go somewhere else entirely? Well, we don't have a crystal ball, but one plus side is that these issues could spark new technologies to emerge and provide sustainable monetization models for creators and online video content. Just what that looks like, it doesn't really seem clear to us, and nor is it set in stone. I think the rise of AI could open up more opportunities or potential alternatives, but we're yet to see these, at least for the time being. A really cynical take would be that Google wants to push YouTube Premium by penalising adblocker users. Without defending the company's stance on this, the paid tier is not horrendously priced for anyone who uses this platform heavily. YouTube Music is bundled in if you're happy to use that for music listening, but family plans can actually get really expensive at upward as $20 per month, and that has risen over time. What makes this more frustrating is that Google actually had a potential solution here. YouTube Premium Lite was launched in 2021 for €6.99 per month, but failed to expand it to more regions before just axing it in October 2023. This plan offered ad-free viewing, but capped some features like offline downloads, background playback, or YouTube Music access. Removing this plan feels like a huge own goal for YouTube, as at this moment it could have been even cheaper and people might have been happy to front up the cash for it. Putting the price down to a level that also made it so cheap that it's almost not worth using an ad block or third-party services on YouTube surely would have made a lot of sense here too. So while I've given you all the information, personally I'm actually pro adblock, and my solution is to use whitelists for sites and content creators that I do actually like and consume a lot of. Understandably, not everyone would do the same, and I'm not saying that people should have to do so. Why would I mention this at all? Well, the biggest argument that you'll hear from those who rely on YouTube ad revenue is that the income derived from premium subscribers is substantially higher than those without. So by subscribing to YouTube Premium, independent creators actually take a bigger cut, and you don't see pre or mid-roll ads in their videos. However, it is worth noting that videos with integrated ads by the creator or a sponsor are still going to be visible to you. Sure, you can use other methods to support creators on YouTube, such as Patreon, channel memberships, buying merchandise. There's also super thanks functions and super chat for live streams, which allow you to directly donate rather than pay a monthly fee. These options might not be available for all your favorite channels though, and in truth, it's not clear what the best solution is for every viewer or every creator, especially for those that have not yet met that criteria to monetize their channels. So while I've focused specifically on YouTube in this video so far, there are benefits beyond just YouTube for ad blockers. The web is rife with third-party trackers and intrusive ads that ruin news sites, make certain pages run horribly, and just generally ruin the modern internet. Being able to block ads and improve experience, load times, and even prevent certain tracking just improves your browsing privacy and therefore your overall experience. On mobile, it is a little tougher for you to block ads, but some workarounds exist. But apps like YouTube Vanced have been instrumental to some of you when using YouTube on Android. Although it has been abandoned by the original team due to pressure from Google, forks of the Vanced app can be obtained, and they still offer lots of YouTube Premium features without a fee, with things like app UI redesigns, functions that Google has yet to add, and it is an interesting application in its own right. I'm actually pretty interested as well. Would adding some of those core Vanced features to YouTube Premium make it more viable for you? I think it probably would be more enticing to a lot of people. So as you would expect, the decision of whether not to use an ad blocker is a personal one that should be weighed carefully based upon your individual preferences, concerns, and overall usage patterns. You should also consider the potential benefits and drawbacks of ad blockers and make an informed decision that aligns with your own priorities. Naturally, this is a really charged subject. Because YouTube has always been a free service, it's hard for some people to come to terms with paying to remove ads from free content. Many of you will be vehemently opposed to premium plans, which I think is absolutely fine. Many of you will also understand that the value proposition of services like YouTube Premium can outweigh other streaming services, think Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, provided that you are happy to pay for it. I've heard a lot of people cite sponsor block software as well, as this gets rid of the annoyance of integrated ads from video creators. And given that many do use adblock, this can often be the only way that many channels can monetize their videos consistently and effectively. This isn't always the case, but it can help keep the lights on when ad rates are poor and videos don't often break even. The creator ecosystem is very finely balanced and nuanced. Not all ads are created equally, with higher rates for certain types of content, making this equation incredibly unbalanced across the platform. If you watch smaller creators, I do think it might be fair to whitelist these channels if you want to support them and see them grow on YouTube. I think the best thing to do though is to be as safe as possible when using adblock software or plugins. As for a recommendation, I personally use a combination of Ghostery, Adblock Plus, uBlock Origin, and a VPN service, all of which probably seems a little bit like overkill. That said, I do also subscribe to YouTube Premium, as I do watch most of my content on TV and mobile, where it is much harder to remove ads completely, and I think the price is fair to me as I do consume 99% of my media here on YouTube, and of course I create for the platform. From the outside, Google's crackdown on adblock when using their premier streaming service could really be the catalyst for better monetization solutions, whether they think it will or not. As I mentioned earlier, AI software could really be used to improve ad blockers in the future, as it will be able to detect things a little bit more readily. At the moment though, it feels like free online video could be at a crossroads, and how things progress seems to be as murky as probably ever. Maybe, as I said, this crackdown could backfire in ways that Google hasn't yet expected. I'd love to know though what you think of adblock and what your personal solutions are when consuming media on YouTube and just across the internet. Let me know down in the comment sections below, and I will catch you in the next one.